The Houthis have been poking the bear for far too long. Since 2023, they've launched 174 attacks on US Navy warships, another 145 hits on commercial vessels. That's over 300 direct provocations, and America has finally had enough. This band of terrorists playing pirates will soon learn what real firepower looks like, because the Thunderbolt is coming, and it's bringing hell with it. With a massive A-10 Warthog fleet coming their way, the Houthis are bound to regret ever lighting that first fuse. Let's talk about it. Now, the US fighting the Houthis, an Iran-backed militant group from Yemen, is not exactly brand new information. The group has been on the radar for years, stirring up chaos across the region. They've controlled much of northern Yemen, including the capital Sana'a, since 2014, and have spent the last decade battling US-backed forces while cozying up with Tehran. But recently, things have escalated, and fast. Since late 2023, the Houthis have been targeting vessels in the Red Sea, sinking some of them, seizing others, and killing innocent seafarers in the process. And it's not just terrorism, it's economic warfare too. Red Sea shipping volume plummeted by 70%, and some companies were even forced to pay the Houthis for safe passage. It's maritime extortion, plain and simple. The Houthis claim they're acting in solidarity with Palestinians in Gaza, but let's be honest, this isn't about aid, it's about power and profit. And so the US stepped in. Sanctions, interceptions, strikes, and then came the hammer. In March 2025, the US launched Operation Rough Rider, a full-blown campaign of air and naval strikes against the Houthis. It kicked off on March 15th and hasn't let up since. The targets? Houthi radar systems, air defenses, missile launchers, anything used to attack shipping or US forces in the Red Sea and Gulf of Aden. The United States Central Command, or CENTCOM for short, calls it a 24/7 operation, and they mean it. The message couldn't be louder. The US is done playing defense. And this calls for a wide-scale force buildup in the region. More ships, more troops, more firepower, and more A-10 Warthogs. On March 29th, more than 300 airmen from the 124th Fighter Wing of the Idaho Air National Guard deployed to Southwest Asia. And they're not showing up empty-handed. They're coming with multiple A-10 Thunderbolt IIs, affectionately called the Warthog, operated by the 190th Fighter Squadron. These aircraft are purpose-built for sustained, punishing firepower. It's the kind of air support that turns the tide of battle and keeps it turned. And this isn't a brief show of force. It's a 180-day deployment, bringing not just aircraft but a full package: pilots, maintenance crews, and support personnel. This is a combat-ready unit, fully committed and fully capable. They've deployed before, to Iraq, to Syria, to Afghanistan, and every time they've delivered. Major General Tim Donnellan, the commander of the Idaho National Guard, summed it up perfectly. Discipline, preparedness, and perseverance underpin the lethality these warriors bring to the warfight. In short, these aren't just any airmen. This is a battle-tested unit, now tasked with pushing back hard against the Houthis' aggression. The 124th Fighter Wing has a shiny history, and now it has a mission. Their Warthogs are airborne, and they're hungry. But they aren't coming alone. After all, a build-up of this scale isn't just about a few aircraft, no matter how effective they are. It's about sending a message that the US is all in. That's why the USS Carl Vinson Carrier Strike Group is on its way to the Middle East, joining the USS Harry Truman Carrier Strike Group. Yep, you heard that right, 2 carrier strike groups in the region at once. That's as rare as it gets. The last time this kind of power was on display in the CENTCOM area was back in September 2024, when the USS Abraham Lincoln and its support ships joined the USS Theodore Roosevelt Strike Group to deter Iran from attacking Israel. This time, the Carl Vinson is bringing an entire support fleet, including guided missile cruisers and destroyers. These ships are the backbone of US naval power, and they're moving into position to pummel any threat in their path. Meanwhile, the Truman Carrier Strike Group has been in the thick of things since December 2024. The group has already intercepted dozens of drones launched by the Houthis, each one a failure for the enemy and a reminder of what happens when you mess with the US Navy. And just to make sure no one gets any funny ideas, the US isn't stopping there. The B-2 Spirit bombers have also arrived on Diego Garcia, an island strategically positioned in the Indian Ocean. How strategically, you may ask? Well, it's within striking distance of Yemen, and the terrorists controlling part of this country should be scared. Really scared. When the B-2s roll in, they bring unparalleled stealth and precision, capable of delivering devastating payloads at a moment's notice. And this isn't your usual show of force. It's a heavy, silent hand waiting to strike. The Houthis may be able to hide in the mountains, but they can't outrun the B-2s. They also can't escape the thunder from the skies, and they haven't been able to for a while now. You see, this new A-10 deployment isn't the first time the Warthogs have come roaring into the Middle East. These iconic aircraft have been a constant presence in the region, especially since the eruption of the Israel-Hamas conflict in October 2023. Since that time, A-10s have been cycled in and out of the region with staggering frequency, allowing the US Air Force to dominate the skies. The 354th Fighter Squadron, stationed at Davis-Monthan Air Force Base in Arizona, sent its A-10s to the Middle East by October 12, 2023, only 5 days after Hamas's attack on Israel. They were welcomed there by the 75th Fighter Squadron, already stationed at Al Dhafra Air Base in the United Arab Emirates since March 2023. And this was just the beginning. By October 24, 2023, the New Jersey Air National Guard's 119th Expeditionary Fighter Squadron rolled in, bringing additional F-16s to the region. Earlier that year, in March 2023, A-10s had also arrived at Al Dhafra Air Base, reinforcing their role as the US's go-to ground pounders in the Middle East. With that deployment, the US had 6 squadrons in the region, 3 F-16s, 2 A-10s, and 1 F-15E squadron. That's a huge, sustained air power presence, with A-10s consistently keeping the pressure on the enemy. But these aircraft did more than just be present in the region, now and in the past. In 2020, A-10s were part of major campaigns like Operation Freedom Sentinel and Operation Inherent Resolve. These operations focused on degrading and defeating ISIS, and the A-10 played a significant role in striking targets that were crucial to the terrorist group's infrastructure. More recently, from December 30, 2024 to January 6, 2025, A-10s were directly involved in eliminating ISIS fighters hiding in caves in the Hamreen Mountains of Iraq. This is exactly the type of precision bombing the Warthog excels at, hitting tough, well-hidden targets while supporting ground forces. The A-10 is also essential when it comes to dealing with rapidly shifting combat situations, as seen when it assisted Syrian Democratic Forces in Deir ez-Zor, Syria, in late November 2024. Despite official denials, the Warthogs were seen providing critical air support to ground forces, ensuring that ISIS remnants couldn't take advantage of the chaos in the region. A little later, A-10s also helped counter Iranian-backed militia groups in Syria, keeping pressure on all the right enemies. Given how useful the A-10 has proven itself in the Middle East, it's only fair to look at this aircraft in more detail. So what is the A-10 Thunderbolt, and why are the Houthis so scared of it? The A-10 Thunderbolt II is a true force of nature in the skies. This aircraft is the US Air Force's primary Close Air Support, or CAS, platform, and it's been saving the lives of ground troops since it entered service in 1977. Built specifically for low-altitude combat and close ground support, the A-10 is affectionately called the Warthog for its distinctive, tough look and its habit of diving into danger with no hesitation. These unorthodox Warthogs come with a design that defies logic. The aircraft is built to endure brutal punishment while still completing its mission. It's equipped with 1,200 pounds of titanium armor protecting the cockpit, earning the name bathtub for the durable shield around the pilot. This armor can withstand 23mm cannon fire and even some indirect hits from 57mm rounds. So while the A-10 is built to survive and even return to base with an engine out, half a wing missing, or its hydraulic systems shredded, it's not invincible. Its redundant flight controls and self-sealing fuel cells give it a serious edge in asymmetric warfare, and small arms fire alone is rarely enough to bring it down. But against even aging surface-to-air missile systems, the Warthog can still take serious damage. Still, it's that legendary survivability, not invincibility, that makes the A-10 so feared. Because when the A-10 shows up, the odds may still be tough, but they're a lot tougher for the enemy. But that's not even the best part of the A-10's peculiar design. The aircraft's wings are massive, providing enhanced maneuverability at low speeds, allowing it to fly slow, steady, and low to the ground while staying deadly accurate. While it typically operates at around 300 knots, about 350 miles per hour, the A-10 can fly even slower when needed, with a tail speed as low as 138 miles per hour. This ability to loiter around targets and strike at low altitudes makes it far superior to faster, less agile jets when it comes to close air support. The A-10's large split ailerons, which cover about 50% of the wingspan, allow it to maintain control at these slow speeds, making it a perfect weapon for ground attack missions. Its high wing aspect ratio and honeycomb structure provide the necessary strength and minimal weight, enabling it to take off from small, forward airstrips close to the front lines, adding another layer to its versatility. In short, it's an aircraft built for one thing: getting up close and personal with the enemy. The A-10's history speaks volumes about its success. This is more than just a plane, it's a savior. From the Gulf War to operations in Iraq, Afghanistan, and now across the Middle East, the A-10 has demonstrated its unmatched capability in providing close air support. It's saved countless infantrymen and obliterated hundreds of tanks. When you hear ground troops talk about the Warthog, you'll often hear phrases like fearless, unstoppable, and even our guardian angel. As for the Houthis, it's more like the angel of death. But how many of these angels are there to rain down havoc? As of 2024, the US Air Force has 218 A-10s in service. While this number might sound impressive, the fleet could have been much larger had it not been for a turbulent history of budget cuts and missed opportunities. Back in 2007, the Boeing Corporation won a nearly $2 billion contract to build new wings for 242 A-10s, but a missed deadline and a series of setbacks meant only 173 new wings were produced. That's only 70% of the needed upgrades. The result? A significant number of the planes were grounded due to metal fatigue, and as of 2020, 133 of the A-10s were non-deployable, a number that rose to 177 by 2021. Despite the setbacks, the A-10 remains an icon of American military aviation. One look at its specs and you'll understand why. This beast of a machine was designed with one purpose in mind: to bring destruction to the battlefield. And when it comes to the Houthis, it does so with relentless efficiency. The A-10's 30mm GAU-8A Avenger cannon is legendary, capable of firing an insane 3,900 rounds per minute. That's right, almost 4,000 rounds in a minute, a rate so fast it could turn a tank into Swiss cheese before the enemy even realizes what hit them. The Houthis, who heavily rely on fortified positions, would soon find themselves wishing for a lot more cover. After all, the Avenger is optimized for ripping through heavy armor with its depleted uranium rounds. When these bad boys hit, they don't just penetrate armor, they obliterate it, turning the enemy's defenses into their own worst nightmare. The GAU-8 cannon is also incredibly precise, with 80% of its shots landing within a 40-foot diameter circle from 4,000 feet. That's an accuracy level that leaves little to chance. In the hands of a skilled pilot, the A-10 can surgically target enemy tanks, artillery, or even soft targets with deadly precision. But it's not just the cannon that makes the A-10 such a formidable opponent. The aircraft carries a vast arsenal of up to 16,000 pounds of ordnance, ready to be unleashed whenever, wherever. The variety is mind-boggling, from 500-pound Mark 82 bombs to AGM-65 Maverick missiles that can track and destroy enemy tanks from miles away. The A-10's ability to carry such a wide array of munitions means it can adapt to virtually any situation the battlefield throws at it, and if the Houthis thought they could stay hidden in bunkers, well, the A-10 has a solution for that too, with its laser-guided bombs and cluster munitions designed to flush enemies out of their hiding spots. It's the kind of firepower that ensures no one gets away. And this goes for both day and night. The A-10's unloaded range of 2,580 miles means it can cover huge swathes of territory during the day, while its ability to operate in low-visibility conditions, even at night with night vision imaging systems, ensures that there's truly no escape. When the A-10 is in the area, no hiding spot is safe. With all this in mind, it might surprise you to hear that the US Air Force is actually working on retiring its A-10 Thunderbolt II fleet. Yep, the very same aircraft that has been a ground force's guardian angel for decades is now on the chopping block. Since 2024, the Air Force has sent 39 A-10s to its notorious storage yard, known as the Boneyard, more than twice as many as the previous year. The plan is to retire the 200-plus remaining Warthogs by fiscal year 2029. So it's not just a phase, the A-10's days are numbered. This would be good news for the Houthis, if they can even make it until then. Now, if you're wondering why this beloved workhorse of the skies is being put out to pasture, we'll break it down right away. Maintenance costs are a huge factor. As the A-10 ages, it's been around for almost 50 years after all, its maintenance bills have skyrocketed. The Air Force is spending $880 million just to keep the fleet operational into the 2030s. Each time one of those planes has a gear-up landing, it's a repair bill ranging from $750,000 to $2.5 million. As former A-10 pilot Lieutenant Colonel Greg Montijo pointed out, problems like this are a regular occurrence, so it's becoming harder to keep those guns firing without issues. But there's more to it than just old parts and expensive repairs. The bigger problem is China. You know, the nation with state-of-the-art air defense systems that could turn the A-10 into scrap metal, according to some military experts. The Air Force recognizes that while the A-10 is still a rock star against low-tech threats like the Taliban or the Houthis, it simply wouldn't stand a chance against the kind of air defense systems the US might face in a confrontation with a major power. As Air Force officials have said, the A-10's lack of survivability in the evolving global threat environment makes it a poor fit for modern warfare. The fleet is already overflowing with 7 different fighter jets, including the F-35, F-22, and F-16, not to mention future platforms like the F-47 and the MRX fighters. With all these shiny new toys, the Air Force simply doesn't have the resources to maintain such a big fleet. The strategy now is to consolidate to a 4+1 fighter model, with the +1 being the A-10, which will eventually be phased out. When this happens, the A-10's precision bombing and close air support role will be handled by more versatile, faster jets that can engage both ground and air targets, although not everyone believes the A-10 can be replaced. Sure, the Air Force argues that other aircraft can do the job just as well, like the F-16, F-35, or even B-52 bombers with their precision-guided munitions. The argument is that CAS is a mission, not an aircraft. As retired Air Force Lieutenant General David Deptula put it, if you're a friendly force on the ground under attack, you don't care whether the bombs come from an A-10 or an F-35, just as long as they do the job. But that view doesn't take into account the unique capabilities of the Warthog, especially in the kind of brutal close combat situations it's most suited for. The A-10 is a presence on the battlefield that no other aircraft can match. Its low speed, heavy armor, and most importantly, that infamous 30mm GAU-8 Avenger cannon make it irreplaceable when you need to drop in low and slow, filling the air with devastating rounds while keeping the ground troops safe. Then there's the human factor. Retired Air Force Colonel Derek Oakes, who spent over 3,000 hours piloting the A-10, pointed out that while the F-15 or 16 might be versatile, they simply aren't built for the kind of pinpoint, low-altitude, close-air support the Warthog provides. Oakes, who's had the boots-on-the-ground experience, made it clear, "I was not the expert in air-to-air," he said, "and I didn't want to be the expert. That's because A-10 pilots live and breathe close air support. It's what they're trained for, and it's what they excel at. The multi-role fighters, despite their prowess in other areas, just don't have the same edge when it comes to doing this job up close and personal." It's also hard to ignore the A-10's reputation for resilience. It's taken hits, sometimes severe ones, and still kept flying, something that can't be said for faster jets that might not be able to absorb as much punishment. The Warthog is the embodiment of durability in a way that no newer aircraft, including the F-35, has been able to match in real combat situations. And that's why many lawmakers, especially former pilots, are pushing back. They argue that the A-10 is more than just an old relic of war, it's an essential tool that can't be replaced by a shiny new toy, no matter how versatile that toy is. Do you agree? Is the A-10 simply too epic to be eliminated from the US Air Force? And is this latest Houthi engagement perhaps a chance to demonstrate that the Warthog still has plenty of fight left in it? Let us know what you think in the comments section below. Whatever the case may be, the A-10's farewell tour or a chance at an unexpected encore, one thing's for sure: the Houthis won't have a good time at the show.